silence. In the flooded heart of the largest rainforest on Earth, the water lies black and unmoving. And for a long moment, nothing breaks its surface. Nothing, except a pair of eyes. Amber, patient, unblinking, they rise just high enough to watch, and no higher. A short distance away, another shape holds just as still. A broad, armored head, a back like wet stone, and eyes of its own resting on the same black mirror. This is the black caiman, the largest predator these waters have ever known, a hunter built by tens of millions of years of evolution to wait and to strike only once. Between the two of them lies nothing but a few inches of dark water. The insects fall quiet. The forest seems to hold its breath. And then, without a ripple to announce it, the amber eyes move. The cat does not chase, it arrives. A single surge of muscle carries it across the gap, and its jaws close upon the caiman's skull before the reptile can even turn its head. It is the only great cat on the planet that kills in this way, driving its teeth straight through solid bone, a blow so precise that the contest is decided almost before it has begun. But the strike itself is not the story we have come to tell. The question behind it is: here, across more than 2 million square miles of forest, an area so vast that science has not yet given a name to every creature within it, a single riddle waits beneath the leaves. Every layer of this world has a king, but only one of them rules them all. Who is it? Welcome to Lipinski Wildscape, where nature tells its story. Over the next hour, we will descend into a place that behaves less like a forest and more like a living machine, a machine stacked in layers, each one ruled by a different master. We will meet the patient giant of the black rivers, the constricting engine coiled in the mud, the family that hunts by talking, the jewel on the forest floor that carries poison in its skin, the farmers older than our own species, and the silent shadow that owns the sky. And through all of it, one animal will keep appearing at the edges, crossing from world to world as though the walls between them were never there. Keep your eye on that one. It holds the answer. To understand the riddle, first, understand the stage. The Amazon spreads across 9 nations of South America, an unbroken green that covers more than 2 million square miles. If you could lift it up and lay it over the United States, it would blanket the country from one coast almost to the other. Within it grow an estimated 390 billion trees, belonging to roughly 16,000 different species. 1 in every 10 known living things on the whole of Earth makes its home here. And every year, scientists find more that no human has ever recorded. But the Amazon is not truly one forest. It is many worlds, stacked one upon another, from the sunlit crowns of the tallest trees down through the tangled middle branches, past the dim understory, and finally to the flooded floor where light barely reaches. Each of these levels is its own country, with its own laws and its own ruler. Feeding all of them is the river that gives the region its name. The Amazon runs for some 4,000 miles, roughly the distance from London to the middle of the Atlantic, and it does not flow so much as it pulses. More than 1,100 smaller rivers branch into it like veins into a heart. At its mouth, it pours out around 1/5 of all the fresh water that reaches the world's oceans, more than the next several great rivers of the planet combined. In a single second, it releases enough water to fill dozens of Olympic swimming pools. Beneath that surface hide more kinds of fish than the entire Atlantic Ocean holds, from tiny tetras no bigger than a fingernail to the arapaima, a river giant that can grow beyond the length of a tall man. In places, the water even splits in two, a pale, silt-heavy current running side by side for miles with a dark, tea-colored one, the two refusing to mix. It is a world of almost unimaginable abundance, and abundance always draws hunters. So let us begin at the bottom, in the black water, where the first king waits. The aquatic layer belongs, first of all, to a creature that seems carved from the riverbed itself. The black caiman is the largest member of the alligator family alive today, and the largest predator in the entire Amazon basin. The biggest individuals stretch beyond 16 feet, and a handful of old giants may approach 20, longer than most family cars. A large male can weigh well over 800 pounds, more than twice the heaviest jaguar, and about as much as a small horse. Yet when it slides into the water, it does so without a splash, and only a faint line on the surface betrays the enormous mass gliding beneath. Its true weapon is not its size, it is patience. A black caiman can lie almost motionless for hours, for days, for weeks if it must, letting its heartbeat slow and its hunger stretch, waiting for a single perfect moment that may not come until the 10th day. In the black water, time belongs to the one who knows how to wait. To hunt in near total darkness, it carries a special mirror behind each eye, a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, the same feature that makes a cat's eyes flash in a headlight. It gathers what little light there is and throws it back, and in the beam of a torch, those eyes burn like two small red lanterns floating on the current. When prey drifts close enough, the stillness ends in an instant. A surge of water erupts upward, the jaws snap shut with astonishing force, and the great tail drives the whole animal into a spinning roll that drags the victim under. It is over in around 2 seconds. This is a scene of nature at its most efficient, and we will spare you the closest details. Its bite is thought to be among the most powerful of any animal on Earth, though the exact figure is still debated by scientists, and honesty demands we say so rather than reach for a number. What is not in doubt is the result. The black caiman is the undisputed sovereign of the deep water. And yet, buried in the mud only a short distance away, something even heavier is waiting. If the caiman rules the water by biting, its neighbor rules by squeezing. The green anaconda is the heaviest snake on the planet. It is not the longest, that title belongs to a python of the old world, and we will not pretend otherwise. But nothing else that slithers comes close to its sheer bulk. A large female can pass 20 feet in length and weigh more than 500 pounds, as much as 3 grown men laid end to end. Reports of monsters reaching 30 feet appear again and again in old travelers' tales. Yet none has ever been properly verified, so we treat them as legend, not fact. Every inch of that body is muscle, shaped by evolution for a single task. This animal carries no venom and needs no speed. It kills by wrapping its coils around its prey and tightening, a fraction of an inch with every breath the victim takes, until the chest can no longer rise. For a long time, people believed the anaconda simply suffocated its prey. Recent work suggests the truth is faster and stranger. The pressure it applies is so great that it cuts off the flow of blood to the brain and heart, and death comes in seconds rather than minutes. The force involved has been compared to a small vehicle resting on your chest. It is built for ambush in shallow water. Its eyes and nostrils sit right on top of its head, so it can lie almost entirely submerged with only two tiny points breaking the surface, indistinguishable from a drifting clump of leaves. It can hold that position without a single breath for up to 10 minutes. Its olive skin, mottled with dark rings, dissolves into the silt and algae until the snake becomes part of the river bottom itself. Most prey never sees it. By the time the first coil closes, the argument is already lost. Two kings of the water, then, two utterly different ways to kill. But the aquatic layer holds one more power, and this one does not hunt alone. The caiman waits. The anaconda hides. The third ruler of the river does the opposite of both. It is loud, it is fast, and it never travels alone. The giant otter is the largest member of the weasel family in the world, reaching 6 feet from nose to tail, and it lives its entire life inside a tight, noisy family. Where the caiman is a study in silence, the otter is a study in conversation. A single family commands a vocabulary of more than 20 distinct calls, from the sharp scream that means a caiman has been spotted to the low chirr that gathers the group for a hunt. They are, in effect, talking to one another all day long. On its own, a giant otter would be a modest predator. Together, a family becomes something else entirely. They herd fish into the shallows, they surround, they take turns, and they strip a stretch of river of its catch with the coordination of a single mind spread across 6 bodies. And here is the detail that upends everything. A lone otter fears the black caiman. A family of otters does not. Working as a pack, they will mob a caiman many times the weight of any one of them, harassing it, biting at its tail, driving the giant reptile out of their waters altogether. The individual king can be overthrown by a committee. It is a lesson worth holding on to as our story climbs upward, because it hints at the answer to our riddle. Raw power is one kind of strength. Cooperation is another. Neither, it turns out, is the whole story. For now, watch the far bank. Something is moving through the flooded trees, low and quiet, its eyes and ears just above the waterline, moving through the water exactly as the anaconda and the caiman do. It is not a reptile. It is not an otter. It swims past, unhurried, and vanishes into the green. We will meet it again. Let us climb out of the water and onto the forest floor. The forest floor is a world of shadow and rot, where sunlight arrives only in scattered coins, and the air hangs thick and green. It is ruled not by the biggest animal, but by the most chemically dangerous, and it fits neatly in the palm of your hand. The poison dart frogs are small, often no longer than your thumb, and they are colored like living jewels in scarlet, gold, cobalt, and emerald. That color is not decoration, it is a warning, written in a language every predator here understands, that says plainly, "Do not touch me, I will kill you." The most notorious of them, the golden poison frog, carries in its skin enough toxin to threaten the lives of several large animals at once. It is among the most poisonous creatures known to science, and it announces this danger openly rather than hiding it. Boldness, here, is a survival strategy. But there is a secret hidden in that poison, and it is one of the most remarkable facts in the whole rainforest. The frog does not make its toxin, it steals it. The poison comes from the tiny insects and mites the frog eats, chemicals it collects, concentrates, and stores in its own skin. The proof is simple and startling. Raise one of these frogs in captivity on a harmless diet, and it grows up completely safe to handle, its deadly inheritance gone. The frog is only as dangerous as its dinner. Its power is borrowed from the forest itself. For generations, certain indigenous peoples learned to gather that borrowed power and touch it to the tips of their hunting darts, which is how these frogs earned their name. A creature small enough to overlook, ruling its lair through chemistry alone. And nearby, in even greater numbers, an even older civilization is at work. Look closely at the forest floor and you will see it moving. A thin green river flows across the ground, each fragment a piece of leaf held aloft by an ant no larger than a grain of rice. This is a leafcutter colony, and it is one of the most extraordinary societies on Earth. A single mature colony can hold several million ants, more citizens than many of our own cities, all descended from one queen and all working toward one purpose. They march in living highways that can stretch for hundreds of feet, carrying pieces many times their own body weight, the equivalent of a person jogging with a large armchair held overhead. But here's the twist that should stop you in your tracks. These ants do not eat the leaves they gather. They cannot even digest them. Instead, they carry the leaves down into vast underground chambers and feed them to a fungus, a special crop that grows nowhere else, and it is the fungus they eat. In other words, these insects are farmers. They tend their gardens, they weed out harmful molds, they even carry their own natural antibiotics on their bodies to keep the crop healthy. And they have been doing this for tens of millions of years, practicing agriculture long before the first human ever planted a single seed. Their underground cities are engineering marvels in their own right, threaded with tunnels that draw fresh air down and push stale air up, keeping the fungus gardens at a steady temperature and humidity without a single machine. A climate-controlled farm, built and run entirely by insects. No individual ant understands any of this. No single ant is in charge. The intelligence lives in the colony as a whole, a mind made of millions of tiny parts. Here again is our lesson, written even larger. Power need not sit in one body. But now we must leave the ground and look up to the lair where the true giants live. Far above the forest floor, where the great trees spread their crowns into a rolling green ocean, rules the most powerful bird of prey in the Americas. The harpy eagle is a creature that seems almost too large to be real, and when it opens its wings, its shadow falls across the canopy like a passing cloud. Its wingspan reaches about 6.5 feet, kept deliberately short and broad so it can turn between the trees rather than soar above them. But the wings are not its weapon. Look at its feet. Its rear talons are around 5 inches long, roughly the length of a grizzly bear's claws, and they close with a grip strong enough to crush bone in an instant. A large female can weigh up to 20 pounds, and she is noticeably bigger than her mate. From a high perch, she will sit almost perfectly still, sometimes for the better part of a day, her pale gray eyes scanning the branches below for the slightest movement. Sloths and monkeys make up the bulk of what she eats, the slow and the unwary residents of the canopy who have nowhere to run once she commits. When she strikes, there is no warning cry and no beating of wings. She simply drops. In near silence, she falls through the leaves, talons first, and closes on her target before it understands that the sky itself has come for it. One moment a sloth clings to its branch, the next there is only an empty branch and the fading shadow of wings. It is the quietest hunt in the whole rainforest, and yet even this master of the air is in trouble. The harpy eagle needs vast stretches of unbroken forest to survive, because it cannot cross wide clearings to reach its prey. As the forest is cut into smaller and smaller pieces, the eagle is slowly being squeezed out, and it now sits close to becoming a threatened species. The king of the canopy, it turns out, is more fragile than it looks. So we have met them all. The caiman, the anaconda, the otter, the frog, the ants, the eagle. Each rules its own lair, but our question still stands, unanswered. Who rules them all? The answer has been with us since the very first minute. It is not the strongest bite, nor the heaviest body, nor the deadliest skin, nor the largest crowd. The animal that truly holds the power of life and death in the Amazon is the one we have watched slipping between the layers all along. The jaguar. Think back on what we have seen. The black caiman rules the water it can never leave. The harpy eagle rules the sky it must return to. The frog cannot escape its patch of shaded floor, and the ants cannot leave their gardens. Every other king is a prisoner of its own kingdom. The jaguar is a prisoner of nothing. It is the largest cat in the Americas and the third largest on Earth, and its bite is the strongest of any big cat relative to its size, powerful enough to punch straight through a skull, or even to crack the shell of a river turtle. But its real crown is not its jaws, it is its freedom. Watch it hunt. On land it stalks deer and peccary through the undergrowth. In the trees it climbs to rest and to store its kills above the reach of scavengers. And in the water, remember the shape that swam past us in the flooded forest? It moves exactly as the caiman and the anaconda do. Silent, low, eyes just above the surface, until it explodes upward and takes a young caiman with a single bite through the skull. A lion needs its pride. A tiger needs its endless private territory. The harpy needs its unbroken canopy. The jaguar needs none of these things, because it refuses to be defined by any one layer. Its power is not force, and it is not numbers. It is adaptability. In the largest forest on Earth, the true ruler is not the one who conquers a single world, but the one bound by none of them. But even the unbound is now under threat. And for the first time in this ancient story, the danger does not rise from the forest. It comes from outside it. It comes from us. The Amazon has already lost close to a fifth of the forest that once stood. Scientists warn of a tipping point, somewhere between 20 and 25% of the whole, beyond which the forest may no longer be able to make its own rain and could begin to unravel on its own. We are drawing uncomfortably near to that line. In recent years, the region has suffered historic droughts and record fires, and smoke has darkened the skies over great cities in the middle of the day. Parts of this forest, which for so long breathed in our carbon and gave back oxygen, have begun to do the reverse, releasing more than they absorb. The green lungs of the planet are, in places, starting to exhale. And yet this is not a story without hope, because the forest is not without its defenders. The indigenous peoples of the Amazon, who have lived alongside it for thousands of years, still guard enormous stretches of primary rainforest, and on the lands they steward, the forest is lost far more slowly than anywhere else. They are, quite simply, its last and best line of defense. Alongside them, restoration efforts across the basin are working not merely to plant trees, but to rebuild whole living systems, from the fungus beneath the soil to the canopy overhead. Because that is what the Amazon truly is, not a forest, but a single engine, every layer depending on every other, and the jaguar depending on them all. Remove any one layer, and in time, the whole machine falters. We began with a pair of amber eyes rising from black water and a single question: who rules them all? The answer, we now know, was never about who could kill the most, or grow the largest, or gather the greatest crowd. It was about who could belong everywhere at once and answer to no one. In that, the Amazon has quietly told us something about power itself. The natural world holds countless more stories like this one, waiting in the dark for someone to tell them. If this journey moved you, consider subscribing and travel with us on the next expedition. Until then, from all of us here, this has been Lipinski Wildscape, where nature tells its story.